You know, just about a year ago, you couldn't have convinced me that Browning's X-Bolt rifle could do with any improvement. And then I was introduced to the X-Bolt 2, and I changed my mind. This is the X-Bolt 2 Speed SPR. So it's the speed configuration with a suppressor-ready barrel and threaded muzzle. And I think it's the best bang for your buck in the Browning lineup of hunting rifles currently. So I want to do a little bit of a review on it. And for those of you that are interested, that like hunting magazines, I wrote a deep dive into this rifle for Shooting Times magazine. If it's not out already, it should be out soon. Check that out. I give all the technical specifications, performance specifications, how to adjust the stock and so forth, as well as a detailed accuracy report. So let's start at the top and just talk about what makes this rifle special. So the original X-Bolt was really, really good, right? And I mean, smooth, reliable, inherently accurate, light enough to build a really nice mountain rifle on, ergonomic. There's a lot of features about the X-Bolt that I really love. Stuff like the little button on top of the bolt handle right there. So if you've got a round chambered and your safety on, you can just push that button down, lift it, and eject that round without having to take your safety off. But the safety does lock the bolt in place. Another feature I really like. It's got a really good box magazine. Now you got to be careful. You can lose these in the backcountry. I've done it, but that's the case with any detachable box magazine rifle, right? These ones load in a rotary fashion, and they're the only ones I've dealt with that invariably feed short, fat Magnum cartridges smoothly and reliably. It's a wonderful thing. High impact polymer. Think Glock pistol frame material, right? Very good stuff. And just an overall great action. Now, some people used to complain about the standard X-Bolt triggers, but if you know how to adjust them, they're actually pretty good. Well, Browning went ahead and put their deluxe trigger, they just acronym it, DLX trigger, in all their rifles, and they come advertised set at 3.5 pounds. This one measures 3 pounds 7 ounces exactly and has a wonderfully crisp, clean trigger pull. The action itself on the X-Bolt 2 has a sleeker styling. I don't know if they were removing a little bit more weight there or if they're just kind of modernizing the look. The X-Bolt is, what, about 18 years old at this point. And anyway, they gave it a little more of a, cutting edge look. They opened up and flared the ejector port. Gives you a little bit more space to fling cartridges out of, less chance of one ever binding up in there. Not that I've ever seen that with an X-Bolt. The bolt itself and the mechanics inside the action are updated as well. They put some anti-bind engineering in there that makes it extremely slick without the potential of binding up. Not that I ever had an X-Bolt bind. I mean, like I said, they're fantastic, the standard ones, but this one, you can't make that bolt bind up when you're trying to work it. So that's another feature I really like. All of them come now with a fluted bolt body. That's partly for aesthetics, partly to help reduce weight. Just another cool factor with it, right? Now, in the various iterations, you can get different types of barrels. The Speed rifle comes with a fluted barrel of a standard sporter profile, right? It's kind of a standard hunting rifle weight. Maybe a little lighter than standard, thanks to the fluting. And the standard Speed has your average barrel length, 24 inches for a 30-06 sort of thing. The SPR, the suppressor-ready version, has shortened barrels. So this specific rifle is chambered in 6.8 Western. You can see this cartridge in front of me right here for those of you viewing on YouTube. And it's got a 20-inch barrel. You do lose some velocity. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But you don't lose any accuracy, and you gain a whole lot of compact maneuverability with the rifle when you have a suppressor on it. And even if you don't want to run it with a suppressor, they come with a nice radial ported brake, and it's very effective. You could use this for a brush gun. It's super quick handling and responsive. The other iterations of the X-Bolt 2, and there's a whole bunch of them, folks, ranging from some with increased capacity magazines, carbon fiber stocks from Macmillan and Browning's own manufacturing facility, and they're building some, for those of you that really want carbon fiber, they're building some with carbon fiber wrapped barrels. They're a very special barrel sourced from a place in Utah that, well, really impressed Browning. The upgrade is significant, folks. It's a $1,200 upgrade to go to the carbon fiber wrapped barrel. And I'm here to tell you today that as much as I love a carbon fiber wrapped barrel, you guys know me, I really do. This barrel on this X-Bolt Speed SPR, X-Bolt 2 I should say, is shooting so well I can hardly see a way for an improvement on it. So I don't think it's necessary. This rifle right here, without the scope and bipod on it, retails right at $1,500. Now that's advertised suggested retail. You'll see it for less on dealers' shelves. The most obvious and significant upgrade to the Speed rifle is in the stock. It's called the Veritech stock. That's the name Browning gave to it, and it's got hidden adjustments in it. You can't look at this and say, oh yeah, there's thumb screws there and I can see a bunch of spacers under the butt pad and all that. It's not an obviously adjustable stock, but this one is adjustable for length of pull and for cheek rest height and for the grip, angle, and feel. So it comes with two different modules. I've got the vertical or near vertical grip modular on this one right here that I've been handling. I like the feel. I wanted to try an X-Bolt with its kind of classic stock lines with the near vertical grip, just to see how it helped doing precision shooting, and I like it. The cheek rest itself is kind of a black clamshell looking affair that goes over the top of the comb of the rifle, and you do have to loosen that with a screw using an Allen key into a hole in the butt pad, the recoil pad, right? You loosen this screw about 10 or 12 turns, then you pull the entire cheek rest back about a 1/4 inch, which loosens it from the sprocket-like teeth that engage it and hold it in place inside the stock. Then you can slide it up or down to feel however you like it, push it forward again where it engages those teeth, and tighten the screw in your recoil pad, and you're done. It's not a quick adjust system, as you can tell, and neither is the length of pull. Now, for those of you just listening, I'll just try and describe it, but the stock of the X-Bolt 2 with the Veritech stock just looks like it's kind of got some racy contour lines down the length of it. That's actually a track that the main part of the stock with the recoil pad slides forward and back on. To adjust it, you take off the recoil pad, spin out a couple of screws in there, and pull the entire rear of the stock off. And then there's hidden internal spacers. Each rifle comes with a handful of them that you stack in there and just dry fit that butt stock portion, that module in, until it feels just right, and then screw everything back together and you're done. Again, it's not a quick setup system. This is more the kind of a stock that looks great. It feels good. It's non-snag, low profile, and lightweight. It's a stock that you personalize for a certain shooter and then stick with that generally, right? It's a beautiful thing. The nice thing is, though, you could get this for a kid, say a 12-year-old kid, and every couple of years you make that adjustment so it grows with them. Very capable of that. Okay, let's see. Let me consult my notes here just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Yes, okay, in the forend of the X-Bolt 2 with this Veritech stock, Browning is embedding reinforcement points, metal reinforcement points, that you can drill through through the bottom of this forend to attach permanent fixtures, such as a length of Picatinny rail for a bipod that attaches to one of those. You could even put a section of Arca Swiss rail if you want to shoot with a competitive bipod or whatnot on that. Pretty cool. It's free floated, of course, around that barrel. One thing I did remark on when I took this rifle out, this action out, to photograph the action in its skeleton form as well as that new deluxe trigger, these are bedded really nicely into this Veritech stock with a good glass bedding. It's a great feature. The Ovix camo on these is my favorite of the patterns that Browning's ever come out with. I've used it from one end of the country to the next. I've used it in Alaska, a bunch of different places around the lower 48. It really works well. It blends with a broad variety of terrain and types of vegetation. Good looking camouflage. Now, I accuracy tested this specific rifle with a Banish backcountry suppressor. It's built to be a suppressor ready rifle, right? So why wouldn't you test it with a nice lightweight suppressor on board? And it really shoots. It's very accurate with Browning's Long Range Pro ammunition. It's loaded with 175 grain Sierra tipped Game King bullet. Really good bullet. I've shot half a dozen head of game with it, and it kills profoundly well. It's got good BC, and almost every X-Bolt I've ever seen seriously accuracy tested likes this stuff the best out of the various factory loads out there. This rifle was no different. It averaged 0.53 of an inch. That's right at half MOA, right? That extra couple of hundredths of an inch certainly could be human factor in there. That's over 3 consecutive 3-shot groups. I tested it with 5 different loads, all told. One of them, it didn't shoot well at all. It produced nearly 4-inch groups with Winchester's PowerPoint 6.8 Western load, but all 4 of the others averaged less than an inch. Most of them significantly less than an inch. The runner-up for best accuracy was Winchester's 162 grain copper impact bullet. That's a really good elk bullet for the 6.8 Western for other heavy-bodied big game, right? And it averaged 0.68 inch, so still less than 3/4 of a minute of angle for 3 consecutive 3-shot groups. Really, really impressed with the accuracy of this rifle and the shootability with that deluxe trigger. The trigger, by the way, is also adjustable. If you want to take it a little lighter and pull weight, you can do that. On the note of ammunition and the suppressor ready barrel, it's 4 inches shorter than is standard, you know, that 24-inch standard for the 6.8 Western. And compared to the velocity listed on the box, I got about 150 feet per second less speed when you average out all the different types of ammo I tested. Now, some lost a little less than that, some lost a little more, but 140, 150 feet per second was a pretty good average. So you can just about say that it loses about 30 feet per second per inch. That's not too bad. Pretty efficient cartridge, and it was still shooting with plenty of authority for your big game at traditional hunting distances and a fair bit beyond, right? It's cool that there are so many different X-Bolt 2s out of the gate, ranging from the base models, you know, that are not very expensive, all things considered, right up through the premium stuff with the carbon fiber barrels and stocks and whatnot that are priced right up there with an entry-level true custom rifle, right? We're talking approaching $4,000. This one right here gives you a fantastic set of features for that $1,500 suggested retail, right? You're probably going to find it for $12 or $13 on dealers' shelves. Cerakoted barrel, super accuracy, free-floated fore-end with a well-bedded action in the stock. The deluxe trigger, that's their match-grade trigger, Browning's. The new anti-bind, sleek, super smooth action. Adjustable stock for length of pull, cheek rest height, and the feel and angle of your grip. There's just nothing to not like about this new rifle from Browning. I highly recommend checking them out.